Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to February 2023 RxAcademy webinar session. My name is Olatunji Rashid. I'm the B2C sales lead for RxAll. For the sake of people joining us for the first time, we'd like to maybe share more light on what RxAcademy actually means. So RxAcademy is an RxAll training platform for people in healthcare space, where they actually learn more and get more insight to how they can actually grow their business and get better insight on also how to actually better themselves. So that is what RxAcademy is all about. We've actually had some session in the past, in January, month of January, where we actually discuss how to use quality assurance to grow our sales. But for this month, today's webinar session, we'll be looking at people operations management in time of Japa and economy downturn. And we have this specialist here with me that will be giving us an insight to this. I actually like this particular topic because these are the current things trending in our society at the moment, Japa and economy downtime. We understand the economic downtime that we actually have currently with the issue of this currency exchange, inflation, and other things that actually goes around, bank not opening and all that. And the other one in our culture now, which is Japa. Imagine your best staff in your organization just suddenly give you a week notice that, sorry, I'm dropping my letter. I will be leaving, going overseas. Imagine what impact that is going to actually cause to your business. So these are more of the things we are going to look at in this presentation. So I implore us to actually pay more attention to these presentations to get some insightful points on how we can use that to actually grow our business and also to better ourselves. So our speaker today for today's topic, that is people operations management in terms of Japa and economic downtime, is Oladejo Theophilus. That's our HR lead for RxAll Incorporation. So just pay attention and as he actually walk us through this journey. So while he's actually giving his lecture, so I advise us to actually put some points or note some points and note some questions that we actually have. And if you have any question at the point of, we don't need to actually interrupt the speaker, we can just drop our questions in the chat box and all questions will be attended to. So just pay attention and while we actually hand over to the speaker for today's session. Over to you, Mr. Theophilus Oladejo.
Thank you very much, Rashid. And it's nice to be on call and to be having this discussion around the people's management in time of economic that time and Japa. So, and I also say good afternoon and evening to everyone on call. And we believe that this section will be a section for us to learn and understand things better and how to manage people or how to go about business activities in this era. So I would like to move on and go through my presentation with you and discussion. So I also like to say that this discussion, I want it to be more interactive because we'll be discussing a lot of things and has to do with business activities, people's operations, people's management, employees retention, and a lot. So I will need also your comments, your feedback as we go on. So if you may not be able to ask or some of your questions on the call directly, you can as well drop it on the chat section. So let's move on. So the topic before me is people's operations management in terms of Japa and economic downturn. So let's get a bit understanding of what this is and what Japa, economic downturn, people's operation, what it means. And I want us to really walk through that together. So for Japa, so Japa is just a slang, is a slang from a tribe. Is a slang and from a tribe and language in Nigeria called Yoruba. So Yoruba as a tribe and Yoruba as a language. So Japa is just a slang, or let me say a street word, which simply means in English to run, flee, or escape. And the proper English word that should have been used in the case of Japa is emigration, that is leaving your country to settle in another country. So, and for the sake of some of the audience, which are from different parts of the world, so Japa in Swahili means kukimbia. Yes, and when you have, that's when you have to run and flee. You have kupotelia mabaya. Yes, that's for Swahili, and for also Uganda, for our other audience from Uganda, we have the Uganda, which Japa means duka, and to flee means okuduka. So that's a bit understanding around Japa. So let's go to what's Japa, what it means, and what it entails. So Japa is regarded as when a young and vibrant individuals are inspired, yes, are inspired to relocate, leaving their country to other country of promising and better future of a more structured system. So, and that has been on and on. It's not only likening to Nigeria alone. We have it all over countries of the world, whereby people are leaving their country to other countries of more promising and better future with a good structure or good government system in place. So this is as a result of economic situation in the country and other contributing issues touching on education, health, infrastructure, security, social and mental well-being, which has consistently hampered development of their country. So, and this has been going on and on, and to some countries, they are actually reducing. Some of these issues has been reducing, and to others, it's getting worse day by day in terms of insecurity, poor infrastructure, bad education system, and the likes. So what are the major causes to this Japa syndrome? So some of the major causes to this Japa syndrome, where people flee from their country or where they move, is on the uncertainty to economic success. Yes, when you are not sure of when your country is going or what the economy of your country is, when you are not even sure if you can survive in that country due to economic fluctuation and due to the cost of even getting a commodity in that country. So this affects people that, okay, let me go to other countries or let me go to other places whereby I can get greener pastures or life can be better than where I am or where I'm coming from. So we also have corruption too. Corruption has really eaten into the system too. You know, where people, you know, where there's bribery, where there's corruption, you know, countries like that, they find it difficult to excel. They find it difficult to move. And people within that country, they are streamlined to who they know, what they have, or their status in the society because of this corruption. So that's another cause of to why people move or why people flee from their country. Then employment rates. If you can see from countries like Nigeria and other countries or in Africa, we have high rate of unemployment. So within this country, and if there's a high rate of unemployment, how will this youth survive? How will this youth grow in whatsoever thing they've learned in school or whatsoever skills they've developed themselves in? So these people look for opportunity elsewhere, opportunity outside their country of existence. So they always look out to other countries whereby their skills, their professional skills are well appreciated and they are ready to pay for what they have. So we have insecurity and terrorism, yes. And I think that is just rampant now in some parts of Africa and even some part of the world. Insecurity whereby you are not sure, you are sure of sleeping, but waking up is in the hands of God because you don't know what might happen next in terms of terrorism. Some people might just bite in, some people might just come into you and start shooting, you know, all those things. So we are not sure of this, of what will happen the next minute. Look at it now. You are just walking on the streets and you start hearing gunshots. People started abducting people, where you have kidnapping and the like. So all this insecurity also go or settle in the mind of every individual. And they always say that, okay, I wouldn't stay in a place whereby I only sleep with one eye closed. All those things are some of the causes to one of the causes to this Japa syndrome. Then the poor education system, poor infrastructure in terms of road, hospitals, healthcare facilities. Nobody can really access that because there is no structure in place. And you will see people flying abroad in order to get treatment, in order to get this their health and every other thing. So poor social health and mental well-being, inflation leading to high costs. Yes, we have that in every country as well, whereby people will not be able to afford or buy anything in terms of commodity goods or services due to inflation. And let's look at the implication of this Japa syndrome on either the organization or the company or the country as well. Let's look at this implication. Let's take this one. The implication now includes skill gaps in organizations, crippled industry growth, loss of tax and funds to other nations, high dollar demand, depreciating local currency. I would like to dwell on that because when we say skill gaps in organization, there's no doubt that the current Japa trend is leaving a huge gap in most organizations. Yes, you can agree with me on that. As great talents have continued to emigrate from the country, as companies are losing a lot of their best hands. You can see in some other financial institutions within Nigeria, you see the tech department, their major department, you see people have flew, they've joined some other organizations abroad, and they've traveled. If you look at the rate of how people move, even within Nigeria and some part of Africa, you see that looking at this people living, you see that they are professionals. They are not just ordinary people, they are professionals. So they are living where they are. And when they live where they are, or the organization they are working with, so it creates a kind of gap, a kind of space. So whereby those space also affect those organizations too. So, and this leaves a gap in the many organizations which subsequently has to be filled by newer talent that may not necessarily be as experienced as those who have left this organization. So in other words, organizations have to repeatedly invest in training and retaining of staff. So this is one of the implications of this Japa syndrome, creating a skill gap in an organization. So crippled industry growth, that's another part, because immigration has stunted the growth of some key industries within these countries of high immigrants. So imagine an X sector where the best doctor have emigrated or has flew to another country. So a tech sector where the best techies are expressing their talent in Europe, Americas, and other countries of the world. Are you getting it? And an academic system where the best academics are taking their knowledge abroad. Just imagine this scenario for every sector of the economy. You see that will cripple the whole industry because we just have people, with little or no knowledge of those pieces or of those professions. And little by little, the industry begins to cripple. And that can hinder the growth of any industry, even within the country as well. So also loss of tax and funds to other nations. Yes, if we agree with me that half of number of employment age are currently working, and that will have, this is just a statement from the chairman of Nigeria's Diaspora Commission, that's Abike Dabiri, and has estimated that about 15 million Nigerians are in diaspora. So if we assume that half of the number are of employment age, let's just do a little view of that. Just half of those numbers of 15 million, that's about 7.5 billion naira of employment age. which I'm very sure of, are currently working. That will mean Nigeria is losing potential tax payment of 7.5 million people who could have contributed to its economy, to other countries which they are fled to, like UK, Americas, another country of better future or better system. And this is also another impact on organization and even the country at large. So we have high dollar demands, depreciating naira or depreciating currency as well. So due to a surge in the number of Nigerians and other African countries who need dollars to travel, the United States currency has become scarce. So thereby forcing its exchange for as much as 700 for a dollar in parallel market. Imagine 700 per dollar. So that's huge. So, and that has caused a rising dollar demand, which has put tremendous pressure on the naira. And unfortunately, none of this policy introduced by the Central Bank of Nigeria to save the naira from a continuous falling seems to be working. And we can see what is even going on now within the country. So now these are the implications of this Japa syndrome on the industries, on the businesses, and even the country at large. So that's for Japa. So another part of this discussion, which I also want us to look at, is the economic downturn. So this economic downturn, what is our understanding of it? Now, a lot of people ask that if an economic downturn, same as recession. And I explained further. I said a recession is a significant, widespread, and prolonged downturn in economic activity. So I'll be showing you how this. So what is economic downturn? So the economy goes through cycles of high and low, much like a wave in an ocean. So when it grows, its crest comes to a peak, declines, and then starts to rise again. So when the economy goes up, it is called economic growth. But when it comes down, it's called contraction, economic contraction or downturn. Let me show a graphical representation of that. Now, look at it here. Look at this movement here. You can see this is just recession in the economic cycle. Look at it when it grows here, same growth here. So it has reached a peak here. So upon reaching this peak as well, it begins to come down little by little. There forms a contraction there. And look at it. So where it's now below this contraction point, so you have recession. So that was why that particular place is saying, when you have my previous slide, is saying, so when you have a prolonged downturn in economic activities that has grows, its crest comes to a peak, declines, and instead starts again to rise again. So that is when the economic downturn occur. So as you can see, this is the contraction where you have the downturn, and when it comes lower than the contraction here in that in this cycle, so we have the recession, and that is how recession in the economic cycle, how it's being projected. So we'll now look at the effect of this economic downturn on recession or recession, this effects on us, on the economic or the industries or any establishment. So first, we look at loss of customers' confidence. So, and loss of confidence in economic prompts customers to stop buying, which can lead to a vicious cycle. If the demand of goods and services is sufficiently reduced, then that will then eventually reduce business profits and the needs or financial capacity to hire more employees. So you can now look at it, how this downturn now or recession now is now affecting businesses now. So that means that economy, we had fewer jobs, because there's loss of customer confidence, because now there is no confidence because of the economic downturn. Nobody is ready to invest in any industry. No investor is ready to come into the country and really set up a business. So, and with that has contributed to a situation whereby there's loss of customers' confidence and they just stop buying. So, and these sales will continue to slow, and manufacturer will generally cut down or cut back production in response to falling demands. Because when there is no demand, there's actually maybe some of the production which they have done is just lying there in the warehouse and nobody's really looking at it or trying to buy or from that product. So definitely those companies or those plants will just shut down, because some of the goods or some of the product they have on ground has not been sold, and most of them are already expiring on just in the warehouse. So there's definitely there will not be any means for them to sell it. So definitely no work, nothing will be done. So everything will just be there. So there will be cutting back on production, also means cutting back on jobs too, which will lead to rising unemployment rates, which will then lead to people cutting back on their spending. So also we are moving to the high interest rates. So higher interest rates makes borrowing money more expensive. Yes, because which discourage consumers, businesses from borrowing money in order to make all these purchases or investments. So the reduced spending leads to a decreased demand in goods, services in the economy. So definitely the decrease in demand in goods and services in the economy. So also this decrease in demand and subsequent cutbacks on production then leads to business hiring fewer people. So it's just as a result of what I mentioned at the top of when I said loss of customer confidence. So as spending in the company goes down, inflation decreases. So however, the high interest rates cause the economy to contract too much that can lead to recession. So this is the effect of this downtime on the business. So also we have deflation too, whereby there's deflation reduces the value of goods and services being sold on markets, which encourages people to wait to buy until prices are lower. So, and you can see it's often associated with high interest rates, which can also cause people to wait to make purchases. So since they cannot afford to make on debts or such high interest, so deflation can also lead to an increase in unemployment. You can see how this downtime is also coming into the space of unemployment rates, coming to the space of why people are leaving their country to other countries too. So we have the regulations and the likes also. So because of our time, I also want us to look at the implication now. So now merging the two concern here now, which is one, the recession or economic downtime, as I've mentioned, then the Japa syndrome. So, and one other thing I want us to note is that Japa most times doesn't mean that people live in the country alone. People might even switch or leave their present place of work also to join another company within the same country or within the same territory. So this Japa also doesn't mean to or doesn't just saying about people traveling abroad only. We can see that people also moving from, okay, you are doing a job with this, you're having your contract with this company, and maybe you look at other companies too with goods and, and more attracting perks. Also, you can leave that company and move to another company. It's a form of Japa too. So, however, I would just want us to know, because as we bring these two issues together, the Japa syndrome and recession. So it's, however, no country in the world is left out of this crisis and imbalance in their economies. But note one thing. One thing is that they have mitigating plan to work around this and can come out of it after a short period of time. And that's why people flee to other countries, because they have a more or well-structured approach to all these issues and, all these economic issues, economic crisis, and the likes. So whereas most countries, especially in Africa, always find it difficult and keep wallowing from economic downturn to recession, and this can go for a long period of time. And all these are the reason behind why a lot of youths and individuals look for other countries with better and well-structured approach to managing economic crisis, insecurity, health, and a lot of them. So now, so we've had these issues now. So what is the approach of the company or the organization to this now, the country or the organization to this now? So starting with the organization, because the organization has a lot of impact to play here, and organization have a lot to do here, because when an employee or an individual is satisfied, he won't be thinking of, the way people think. They won't be thinking of wanting to leave their comfort zone, or where they feel they are well treated or well managed for other places, because they think, okay, I think I'm comfortable here. At least I could get, or I could afford everything I want. So what is the approach on the impact of this recession and Japa on organization? So as organization at the center of this downturn and Japa syndrome, what can we do to manage staff who are yet to consider or yet to Japa within an organization? So this discussion came up sometimes last year, and we have our HR thought leader here, Yemi Fashion, which gave a submission and said, not managing talent within the context of new work realities is contributing to Japa trend. And if organization can single-handedly stop the Japa trend, what can they do to stay afloat and mitigate this effect? Though I'm bringing out this quote because I could get 2 points there, which I've stated here, or I've been able to pinpoint here, which is stop the Japa trend. That's one point which I could able to bring out from this submission. And the other one is stay afloat and mitigate the effect. So in this case now, or in this scenario now, so how can organization single-handedly stop this Japa trend within the organization? And okay, perhaps or peradventure, if this Japa eventually happen within the staff or within the organization, so how do the organization or such organization now stay afloat and mitigate the effects so that the business or the industry won't run down? So that brings us now to people's operation. So that brings us to people's operation. So people's operation, what's our understanding of people's operation? So people's operation from here is tied to, or is tied around effectiveness and development, which is new normal and advanced level of human as a resource. So we are looking at people's operation within an organization. So people's operation is just a strategic business function that focuses on putting the employee first by humanizing impersonal system and continuous improving employees' engagement, development, and retention. That's a bit around people's operation. So, and it's quite different from, or let me say it's slightly different from the traditional understanding of human resource practices, which we have. So we also have some key priorities of people's operation, which is connecting individual employee performance with goals, gaining employee trust, change management, culture development and transformation, continuous engagement, employee recognition, mapping the employee journey and life cycle, then employee development. So these are some key priorities of people's operation. Then I mentioned that this people's operation is just slightly different from traditional HR practices that we used to know or we used to have, because a lot of things has really set in now, right from the era of COVID-19, from 2020 till now. A lot of things has changed in terms of people's management, in terms of how you manage people, in terms of how you relate with people, or how you engage with employee. So to that, I would like to go to those slight differences differences now. So now, for people's operation, now the way they view employees and put people's first. They put staff first. But the way the traditional HR we see it is employees as a resources or one of the resources. Traditional HR, we always give an approach in managing people to task focus. Task focus. Okay, this is the task given to you. Have you done it? Have you accomplished it? So what is it? So where is the task? But people's operation, we look at result-oriented. We look at the strategic focus to manage people, to lead people, rather than being taxed, rather than being asking of tax. We look at, okay, this is what I've assigned to you. What is the result there? What is the result you've gotten from it? So how you do it, how you go about it, should be less concern, but rather what is the result getting from this? And if the result is not coming forth, then there is another point that we're saying strategy focus. They need to what? Change the strategy in order to ensure that you get the desired results. So we have reactive too for traditional HR. Reactive, it handles issue when they arises. But proactive is just being strategic, like I mentioned from the definition of people's operations management, that you need to foresee the future. You need to be strategic while managing people, that, okay, these people or this employee, the way you are looking at it and the way you are looking at it, you foresee future issues and continuously work to ensure that conflict and disengagement doesn't happen at the first place. So you learn how to what? Manage people and how to foresee those things and to ensure that those things you foresee didn't actually happen. You find a way around it, you look at it holistically, you've applied your strategy and you've implemented it so that it won't really eat down or really eat the organization's that. So also, I would like to move to some of the points which I highlighted from the submission which I made mention of, that what organization needs to put in place to stop this Japa train. Because organization now has an important body that spreads to the country. Because if every organization or every industry within the company can really work or can really have this harmonious approach to all this, why people Japa or why people flee from their country or even within the organization, if they can just have this harmonious strategy to it, I believe it will make the country and it will make place safe for employees, even to dwell, even to work, or even the country to stay. So now we are looking at culture and diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. So, and if you look at it, this has emerged, you might have heard of this culture, diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. So it has emerged as a pillar of business and human resource strategies as companies turn their focus to building an inclusive workplace that drives sustainable growth and innovation. So, and organization structure may seem subjective, but its impact on retention can't be denied, yes. So, in fact, companies' culture is one of the key drivers of workplace satisfaction. You can agree with me. So, why the building block of strong culture varies somewhat from one workplace to the next. So, strong corporate culture share key traits, and some of those key traits are having and carrying out clearly articulated values. So if your company has some values which they have, make sure that those values are their key focus when it comes to business, when it comes to interaction, when it comes to people's management, when it comes to people's operations. They are their core key values, and they are really working and aligning the company goals toward that. So valuing and seeking out employees' voices. So when an employee speak up, so and can be heard and can speak up without being witch hunt, or can speak up without being, back at, or without being, embarrassed. This is a kind of culture that people want to be, because this such person, such employees will know that, okay, this is the kind of organization I would like to be, because, at the point, if I speak, my voice is heard, and it's not a place I can speak, and I'll be afraid to speak up, or I'll be afraid to talk about things, or to talk about, some inconsistencies or some things that are not right within the organization. So it's a culture thing. So for every organization, they need to put in place that culture. They need to put in place that inclusion and diversity, where people can actually be confident and say, okay, yes, in this organization, I can speak and nothing will happen, in terms of I can speak and I won't be winchant, or I can speak freely, and at least something sensible, because most times you have people just speaking and you're just speaking out of context or out of line. Speak something meaningful and be able to say the truth without being afraid of what might come after it. So that's just another point there. So another point is support for mental health and imbalance. Yes, this is another point, because between the rising cost of living, complex personal lives, political, economic uncertainties, it's no wonder that nearly half of employees feeling burnout already. So even most times, look at what is happening in Nigeria now, whereby there is no cash, no fuel, you can't even access your own cash or your own money. Yes, you can't even access your own cash, your own money. You can't even go out freely, being afraid of the chaos in town, or being afraid of you'll be attacked by some guys that is trying to hijack the whole situation, and use it to their advantage. Most times people, they are not balanced. Look at the videos. Rashid, I was actually watching a video of a woman that just went to bank, and she was going half naked because she needed the money at that point, but she couldn't access the money, and she was going half naked. Look at what that kind of thing has caused to people's mentality, has caused to people's mental well-being. I was watching another one. The woman just walked to a filling station and just stripped herself naked. Everybody just flee, and she just grabbed the nozzle of the filling station, and just put it in a car and start selling fuel for herself. Look at scenarios like that has really, really tampered with people's mental well-being. And look at it, people still find their way, come back to work, and they still work. So to that, organizations should also look at this, that, okay, how can we support our staff in order to maintain this, because we understand this situation of things. How can we look at it for them that, okay, it won't have much impact on their job, it won't have much impact on their deliverables, so that it won't be like, okay, there's burnout, or maybe at the point in time they are frustrated, or the job is just tiring, and maybe somebody just throw a likely jokes or a light joke at them, and they just turn the whole thing up and just take it personal and likes like that. So organizations should look at it that, okay, how can we help staff that, okay, so they have a lot of approaches that we can have trainees on, okay, how to handle this mental health and balance. Can have, okay, talk to someone, talk to employees, make sure that they are well relaxed. You can introduce a lot of strategies or a lot of approach to them. Okay, don't worry, we understand the situation of things in the country. Okay, can you stay off work for these days? Or can you work from home? Okay, can you work from where you are? So if you cannot work, okay, just feel concerned. Let them feel that, okay, somebody care about me. Somebody care about my mental well-being. Somebody is not trying to add to the frustration that is already on ground. So that's another part. So another one too I would like to also go to is life-work balance, flexibility to work, hybrid and remote. We can see with these, even since the COVID era, where we have the pandemic, a lot of organizations, I know a lot of organizations that are still working from home, and they are still getting the results, and they are there. So for these, organization can actually reduce the crunch by cutting back on unnecessary people visiting the office, whereby if most of their activities can be done or work from home, and if actually they can achieve their deliverables by working from home. So actually they can also put that into place as well, in order to see that, okay, work from home, do some of your work and likes like that. So also work from home and likes like that. So also, when you have hybrid as well, hybrid, they can work sometimes from home, sometimes in the office, like that. Maybe, okay, out of 5 working days or 6 working days, okay, they can work 2 days from office, 3 days from office, depending on how the organization wants to structure it. At least it gives the employee a well-relaxed and, well approach to, okay, this is how my organization is, and they cater for it. And actually, when people work from home, this, in terms of deliverables, from recent reports and statistics, we find that people work better when they work from home, because looking at the stress of, okay, I need to rush to the office, I need to do this. This is only streamlined to people that maybe some of their work activities can be done from home, not people that maybe some of the assignment needs them to be on site or to be at work. So this is very, very important. So another point also, the organization also need to put in place to solve the Japa trend within the organization and within the country, is to improve compensation structure and compensation and benefit structure. So that's the need for the organization to improve that. So to look at, okay, in today's competitive marketplace, so compensation is a very essential piece of company's retention strategy. Yes. So it's very, very an essential piece of that. So no matter how valued an employee may feel, they're likely to look outside their current company if they feel inadequately compensated for their work. So companies should be able to regularly assess the industry compensation standards, as this is important, because they need to look at it that, okay, with this current trend, with this, what is happening now, and with people moving, so what are these organizations, okay, that are doing similar things to what we are doing, what are they paying their staff? And we should look at it that, okay, why will my staff leave this organization to join this organization? What are they doing? So we need to look at that from the part of the organization to that, okay, how can I improve that? How can I reassess my compensation structure? So how can I implement that into the system so that even though you want to go for, or you want to Japa, it won't be on the basis of maybe the compensation and structure. So the compensation and structure should even keep you within the business or within the organization. Then we have talent management and building. Yes, this is another part which I would say most organizations should not joke with, because basically we mentioned the reassessing and improving compensation structure. This is another part which is because for every organization, they always want to grow within the organization. They always want to move from one point to the other, either from the associate to the mid-level management or to the senior management. They want to move. So for them to move, they need something must, aid that movement. And what must make that movement is through their building, talent building, is through how you're able to assign tasks to them, how you're able to they develop themselves on the job. And that cannot happen if they don't have access to some of the things too. If they don't have access to trainings, if they don't have access to career path trainings, if they don't have access to mentorship programs, if they don't have access to leadership training. So these are some of the things that can help, better manage talent and ensure that we have them retained within the organization. So we also have some retention programs too, and retention programs ranges from investing in employees' career, focus on managers, whereby people would want to also be trained in terms of leadership and the likes like that. So we also have nice employees' contribution. So those are the ways whereby you can have those retention programs, and for employees' contribution, so you can recognize them for what they are doing. No matter how small, how little it may be, you can recognize them. Even within they feel there's that feeling within the staff or within the employee that, okay, for this little thing I did, I don't know, I can be this appreciated either openly or, either privately, that, okay, thank you for doing this, thank you for doing that, openly like that. It creates a kind of sense or a kind of deposit within the mind of, okay, that's good. I'm being, yes, I'm being recognized for this I've done. Okay, so it will also bring out the best in such employees that, okay, I want to do more because I want to get more of these recognitions, more of these values. I want to get it from my organization. So also, yes, I've mentioned they considered to also some of the things that aid this retention program, also to consider the benefit packages and lists like that. So give employees the tools for success, ensure that for every work they do, they have the right tools, they have the right working tools to them in order to work, in order for them to achieve milestone within their units or within their tasks assigned to them. So also, another point about under this retention program is to also help employees to find purpose on their work. Yes, so because most companies' leadership can help employees engage with their organization's purpose by communicating the company's impact on the world and helping employees connect with it. You know, we have so far from the recent discussions I've had, recent engagement I've had with talents or with candidates when they come for interviews, or when I have interviews with them, I say, okay, why do you want to leave your present company? They will say, okay, their goals is not aligning to mine. I mean, in terms of the employee, they say, okay, the goal of that employee is not aligned to that. Okay, what do you want? Okay, what are your goals? What are they like? So most times we need to ensure that we have this rapport, good rapport and good relationship with our employees to understand that what are your goals? Does it align with that of the company? And okay, how can we help you align to it so that at least everybody can smile at the end of the day? So these are part of the things that employees feel that, okay, this is the place or right place to work. So I haven't mentioned that. So these are the parts where the organization needs to put in place in order to stop this Japa trend. So in terms to talk about the culture, support for mental health, life work balance, improve compensation and benefits, talent management and building, retention programs, and many more. So we've talked about this. Then we now look at the other part that says, okay, what of now looking at it that, okay, what of if after putting all these things in place and still the employees still look at, okay, I still need to Japa, I still need to move, so what does the organization now needs to put in place? What's now putting in place as the mitigating approach to this now? So now, from the organization's angle on the ways to stay afloat and mitigate this effect is talent management from the leadership level. So employees began receiving promotions based on performance a few years ago as the workforce shifted towards millennials. But they had to also, so we have employees like now, employees began receiving promotions, you know, a few years ago on workforce and like on the, as the workforce shifted now, and a lot of new normals now have now set in place now. So a lot of people now, you know, organizations, they are not looking at, okay, how people can actually move or how they can be promoted within the organization. So they just look at, okay, can you do this? Just come. Can you do this? Just come. Can you do this? Just come. So this is not really impacting on, okay, people that are already on ground or people that are already existing in the business. So how can you move them to see that, okay, these people have been on ground, what needs to be done in order to make sure that they are doing what they are supposed to do at the right time? So, and to do that, you need to look at, okay, what are their job functions? How do you assess it? So what are they doing? So look at it that, okay, this is what this person can do. Okay, if we had more tasks to what this person can do, will you be able to work in the capacity of being a leader? Will you be able to work in the capacity of coming into that space? So it's just like you building up a team or a future team now that, okay, these people, they've worked, okay, what needs to be done? What training do they need in order to work in this capacity to come up to this role? So for organizations, they need to look at it. So how to manage those people, how to manage employees from that level to that leadership level now, to be able to get what they want, and also not only looking at it or managing them, also to invest in relevant training and development of people who you have also foreseen that, okay, this person, they can improve, they can come into this space, in the leadership space, or who currently hold that leadership position also. Then also, we look at prioritize access to talent over ownership of talent. So with this now, and with what is going on now, so the world of work is gradually moving away from owning a talent to having access to them, is what is called flexible talent management. So, or agile talent management. So whereby you use freelancers, independent contractor to close these talent gaps also. They might not be directly your staff, or they might not be directly your working under your organization, but you make use of them. That's why we have freelance guys that, okay, I need to do something in this area. Okay. Just look to engage people to come into that space, engage them that, okay, can you do this for me? At what rate? You have a kind of discussion with them. So in order to come into that space and work for you, and after the service, you are satisfied with the service being delivered, then you have them go. So due to our time, so I also like to move on. So focus on the ones present, that's focus on the present, on the talents. So it's very, very important that organizations begin to shift focus on those that are leaving or have already left. So they should pay attention to those that are still in the workforce. So by this, we also encourage that organizations also do, as they do exit interview as well, though it's considered, they should also do stay interview too. And that stay interview will help to understand better what the people that are already working, the current workforce, what they want, the current employees, what they want, what needs to be done, how we need to do it in order to make them stay, and likes like that. So that's to focus on the present employee. So develop talent building to build talent retention. Yes, that's another part, because whether we like it or not, this is the great resignation period, or the great resignation era, where people resign and they are ready to Japa and to move. So we're actually talking about the mitigating effect. So to this, we advise that since there are fierce competition of these jobs in the market, and because due to these gaps within the organization, so even the talent everyone has now, they are keeping to them, or they are holding on to them, because there's scarce of them. So with that, organization is looking at great trainings program, managerial trainings for employees, also that will help position the current talent that you have, the current staff you have, in order to improve the talent retention. So, and the last one is to adopt replacement strategy that works. So in most cases, filling the talent gap left by the relocated employees is inevitable. So it's always hard on employees, always hard to get, or always hard to replace them at one point or the other. So company can take some approaches to expedite this, either to look inward to promote a capable existing employee, or look outward to attract new talents. Yes, to attract new talents. So promoting existing employees will be easier if a company has invested in the employees on every level. So in a situation where this hasn't been in the case, so the next route is to take to recruitment externally. Yes, so most organizations will struggle to simply fill their gaps and fill their skills gap due to intense competition for talent in the market. So, and this also, however, has a great impact on organizations. So to that, so it's good to adapt these two strategies or two approach to this replacement. Is that you look for someone within the organization based on the level, how you have trained them, how you have been able to interact with them or engage them, then move them up to that position. But if that is not the case, or nobody is ready to move, then the need for you to look externally now. And while looking externally, so you need to also put in place some other factors to that. Okay, this person coming on board, you need to adapt them to the system, you need to carry out the training section with them, develop them also in skills they need in order to get the job done. So these are some of the mitigating factors, or some of the ways whereby we can stay afloat as an organization and also mitigate this effect of this Japa syndrome, economic downtime on organization. So as organization being the smaller piece of the country, so if every organization can actually look into this and try to acculturate this plan, or this strategy into people's operation management, I believe this should better retain our best talent, and no need for people to just wake up one day and say, okay, I'm moving or I'm leaving the country based on this, based on that, and based on some other reasons best known to them. So this is a place whereby we have come to the end of this section, and I'll say thank you, and we'd like to have questions from all parties. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, our speaker, Oladejo Theophilus, for this insightful section. We actually learned a lot from Japa and this economic downturn that you've actually shared with us. I think I've actually learned a lot to the extent that I normally think Japa has to do with inter-countries flee, but now you've actually made us to understand that Japa may be an inter-organization thing, interstate thing, so not just inter-countries, and also the effect of the economic downturn and how it actually has great impact on organization and how employers will actually feel and also react to that. I think we've actually learned a lot from this. So the next thing is we would like to actually have questions from our participants here. If we have any questions from anybody, we can just type it to the chat box. So we are expecting your questions and questions. Okay, while we are waiting for people to ask, because we've actually spent most of our time here in this presentation. So for the recorded section, we put it on our social media platform. It will be there on our social media platform as from Monday. That is RxAll Facebook page, LinkedIn, Twitter, and also Instagram page. We can actually watch the recorded session, and we can also enjoy the recorded session in our blog on our website. That is rxalldelivered.com/blog. You can get the previous recorded session also of the one we've had in January, also in that place, and also in our social media session. So let's see, look at if anybody has questions before we actually. So we are not getting questions. Okay, someone has a question. What do you do? What do you advise for a person looking to leave a full-time job for masters in Europe? What is your, so I think our speaker, we have to help us to attend to that. The question is, what do you advise for a person looking to leave a full-time job for masters in Europe? And we also have another question. Okay, I don't know. Can I just take the questions together so you can answer them together? Then we have another question also from one of the participants. What could be the reason for the existing employee not to accept upgrade offer? So the question says again, what could be the reason for the existing employee not to accept upgrade offer? Upgrade offer, yes. I think that's part of the point you actually mentioned when we actually giving your presentations, because we know this Japa of a thing is now a kind of, we have some of the features of Japa as a push factors everywhere in our society at the moment. So I think answering that question will also really help us. So can you please help us attend to these two questions?
Okay, the first question, thank you. Okay, thank you, Rashid. So thank you for that. So the first question is around somebody leaving a full-time job to go to pursue the masters abroad. Fine, good. I always love to say this for anyone. I always love to give this advice to anyone that's leaving a full-time job to pursue your master's in abroad or anywhere, any part of the country abroad. Let me just put it in quotes. I just love to have a conversation with them that, okay, so what are your plans after the master's program? What are you looking at? Are you looking at, okay, using your master's to get programmed or to get employed there? So you want to join the workforce there and abroad too. So have you made your findings of how this is done? And if you are going, leaving a full-time job here, well-paid job here, and going there, are you sure after completing that your master's, you are not going there to wash toilets, or you're not going there to start mobbing lounge areas? So those are the questions I asked them that, okay, what have you done to prepare yourself before you say you want to Japa? And after you have completed your MBAs or your programs there, so what is the next thing for you to do? So these questions are times when I ask people that come to me for discussion like this, it's always good that, okay, if you have made up your mind to Japa, okay, I will advise you that you look at for professional courses, professional trainings whereby you can engage yourself in. And when you get there, it can be easily, they can easily engage you. They can easily ask you to come, okay, you have this experience, you can work like this. Okay, what are the things you've done? That's what these people they are after. Okay, these are the things you've done. Okay, you have experience doing this. Okay, can you show me? Okay, can you do this for us? So it's better off that you are just going there without any clue, without any plan, without any background experience or knowledge in anything that can help you sustain while you are there running your masters. So these are the questions I like to, or I asked people that come to me that, okay, what have you really put in place for yourself? Because it will make sense that, okay, you come here, you are a full-time person here, and you are working here. It's not as if maybe it's bad here. So I just went there and start going there and start cleaning lunch, start cleaning toilets, start doing all these menial jobs you wouldn't have done while back home. So these are the questions I asked them. So, and when you finish your program, what will sustain you, even when you are there? Though there is work and academics there, so you can work, you can do academics, pari passu and likes like that. But, someone like you, you should have some little self-worth to yourself to that. Okay, this is the stuff I'm made of. I can't wash toilet, I can't clean people's lunch in back home. So why would I do it here? So you should add value to yourself by looking at some of these programs which you can access, develop yourself, train yourself. So when you get there, they will treat you as king and not as slaves. So hope I'm able to answer that your question. Sorry, I can't see that question.
Then the second question.
Yeah. The second question now says, what could be the reason for existing employee not to accept upgrade offer? So I think I've mentioned that from my presentation, and a lot of things must have contributed to that within the work culture, the compensation and benefits, and even the flexibility to work. So it's just around that. So we're looking at because to whom much is given, much is expected. So a lot of expectations will come from you and the likes like that. So you'll have looked at how people can address this, or how they can look at it. Okay, if the work culture is good and the work flexibility is there, okay, even if I attend this, so what are the likelihood that I might survive even as an employee? Let me say, okay, I have a boss now, and my boss just step down, maybe Japa or move to another organization, and I'm stepping into his shoes. Okay, look at, okay, what are the things I can observe, or what are the things I have observed when my boss was there and why he was working. So hope I'll be able to walk through, hope I will, so I always tell people also that yeah, you need to challenge yourself to when this opportunity comes forth, regardless of what is going on. You need to challenge yourself, because that's the better way, or that's a way people grow. Because if you are not challenging yourself and you are not ready to take up a grade of our baby based on what has happened or what is running within the organization, and how, maybe the boss left and the likes like that. So you need to challenge yourself that, okay, I also want to grow. I want to be better. I want to be the best at what I do. So you need to take it up as well. And, when you have your portfolio, okay, and you know that, okay, you are not the same way you join the organization. Because if you are just sitting that, okay, I don't want to take the job offer, it's stressful, is this, is that. So there's no, I believe there's no work that comes easily like that. And for you to grow is not in the comfort zone.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. We also have another comment from one of our participants here. That is from Mr. Thomas Motaya Lupeju. He's saying OG infrastructure deficits in the country, that's in Nigeria, is largely the primary remote cause of Japa Downturn. Yes, I think the speaker actually mentioned that why it was actually, that was the first part of his presentation. He actually mentioned that. I think the key note here is that for for our merchant on the call, what we actually do at RxA is not just ordinary service that we actually provide for you. We just want to see how you are also going to grow in your business. So that's why we have this RxAcademy program for you. So I think the takeaway from this organization, based on what our speakers said so far, is just to find a way to actually curb Japa among your staff. And find a way to actually make them stay. Most especially your best staff, so that it will have great impact to your business. And also, we have this economic downturn now going around that may also have effects on your business. So having these two things combined together may have large effects, negative impact on to businesses. So just take the key ways to actually mitigate it and see how you can actually maybe apply it to your organization. So don't be this traditional HR, try to be an people's operational HR, as the speaker has rightly said. So once you look at this, if you access your HR system and see if it is not traditional HR. So if it is traditional HR, just find a way to migrate from that to people operations. So this will better help your business, and your business will actually grow from from there. So I'm not sure we have any questions from any of our participants at the moment. So just as I said earlier, we have the recorded session of we have the recorded session of this webinar on our social media platform, as RxSol on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter for Monday. We can also get the recorded session of this webinar from our blog also, that is rxalldeliver.com/blog. So if in case you have friends, colleagues that actually miss this webinar session, and you see that this information shared by our speakers from this webinar session will be very useful to them, please tell them to just visit the blog and our social media for the recorded session for Monday. And we also have the recorded session of the one we had previously on our platforms and also on the social media platform also. So for us, if you want to learn much more about RxSol product and services, you can also visit rxol.net to get to know some of our product and services and anything that actually concerns RxSol. Or if you also want to reach out to us, you can reach out to us at info@rxol.net. So we appreciate your time, and I believe we've been able to actually learn one or two things from this session. So we'll meet next month again at this RxAcademy webinar, where we'll be giving you another important topic also. I want to say bye for now and thank our speaker also, and thanks the participant for coming to today's webinar session. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much, and bye for now.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.